When it comes to living happily and healthily, minimalism can be a wonderful lifestyle and a great place to start. However, I do feel that it is only a part of the whole picture. And so in today's video, I want to share with you 15 ideas to change your life or improve your life in 2021 that involves a combination of minimalism, healthy habits, and intentional living so that we can feel our best overall. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where you can get weekly tips and inspiration for living a more simple, happy and zen life. My name is Vera if you're new here, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you'll never miss a video from me. So the ideas in this video are divided up into 3 categories: minimalism, healthy habits, and intentional living. 5 ideas for each category that I think can work really well together and that can help us to be more well-rounded and work on our happiness in a more holistic way. So feel free to pick and choose the ones that work for you. And of course, I would also love to know which things you are going to be working on in 2021. So feel free to leave that down in the comments. And before we begin, this video is sponsored by my friends over at Skillshare, so more on them later. So let's start with 5 ideas for minimalist goals that you can try in 2021. And the first is something that I have been doing for a couple of years now that is very simple, but also very effective in making me a more mindful and conscious consumer. And that is to wait a while before you replace something. So if you have an item around the house that breaks, for example, or maybe it runs out, instead of going to buy a new one immediately, see if you can wait a few days or maybe even longer to see if you actually miss having the item around. And if you do, then you will know for sure that this is an item that provides value for you, and then you can go out and get a new one. But maybe you will actually find that you are perfectly fine and content without the item. For example, a couple of months ago, our blender broke, and instead of immediately buying a new one, we actually waited around 2 months to see if we would actually miss having a blender. And during that time, we tried different ways of preparing things that we would usually use the blender for, and we got a little bit creative. And after that time, we figured that yes, we really do miss having our blender. It is a really nice thing to have, so we bought a new one. But this way, we were really sure that having a blender actually provides value for us. Number 2 is to practice digital minimalism. And I think that this area of minimalism is often a bit overlooked, but I find that it is so helpful in making my life less stressful and more organized. Ideas can be digital decluttering, having a one-screen policy, limiting certain apps, or switching off notifications. If you think you could benefit from a bit more digital minimalism, then I have a video where I share 20 things that you can do, so I'll leave that in the description box. This next one is kind of a minimalism resolution that you could set for yourself in 2021, and that is to only buy something if it is 100% perfect. And of course, this goes for clothing, but basically for anything that you can purchase. Often when we are looking for an item, we might buy something that we are not 100% sure about, or we don't really do our research. And these are often the items that end up in the back of our closet or the back of our kitchen cabinets, and they hardly ever get used. So make it a point in 2021 that you will only buy something if it is 100% perfect, if it fits all your needs, checks all the boxes. If it is clothing, make sure that it really works well on you, that you feel really confident in it, and make sure also that this is an item that you can immediately start wearing or start using. Goal idea number 4 is to declutter that one thing that you have been wanting to declutter for such a long time, but something has held you back. Oftentimes it is feelings of guilt. So maybe someone gave that to you, or maybe you spent a lot of money on it, or something else that has held you back. But there is a reason that you secretly wanted it gone for a while, and that is because the item is no longer serving you. So ask yourself the question if you would be secretly relieved if one day you woke up and the item was magically not around anymore. And if the answer is yes, then I advise you to bite the bullet and declutter that item and do not feel guilty about it. Minimalist goal number 5 is to always shop from your own home first. So make it a point in 2021 to look through your home, look through your storage spaces before you buy something new, because chances are you already own something that you can use, and you might even rediscover some items and find some things that you can really fall in love with again. Next up are 5 healthy habit ideas for 2021, but before we go into that, I quickly want to do a shout out for today's sponsor, Skillshare. And one of the things that I made into a habit for myself last year and that I really want to bring with me this year is learning new things and improving my skills, and Skillshare has been a huge part of that for me last year. Skillshare is an online learning community for creative and curious people, and last year I've watched productivity classes, photography, videography, copywriting, creative writing, interior design, graphic design, business classes, and they have thousands of classes that you can basically learn whatever you want to learn about. There's also cooking classes, art classes, and they have them for all levels. The class that I have got lined up for myself to watch next is called Creative Transformation: 9 Exercises to Draw, Write, and Discover Your Future by Marie Andrew. I think this is the perfect start of the new year for me, and I really like her approach to self-discovery through creativity. The classes are usually under 60 minutes long, and they are always divided up into these small sections, so it's very easy and very enjoyable to watch. It's never overwhelming for me, and there's just so much to explore. They're always launching new classes, and it is curated for learning, which means that there are no ads. Skillshare is less than $10 a month if you get the annual subscription, and the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description box will get a free trial of premium membership, so you can already start learning and exploring your creativity. The first idea for healthy habits to start in 2021 is to incorporate self-care Sundays. And I actually used to do this myself, but I kind of stopped in the second half of last year. So I decided that I want to do this again this year. Now, of course, it does not have to be a Sunday. It can be any day that works for you. And it doesn't even have to be a whole day. You can also do a couple of hours a week, or maybe one Sunday every 2 or 3 weeks. I am thinking of doing a Sunday every 2 weeks. So find what works for your schedule, but do set some time aside for yourself regularly. Leave this time open to do whatever feels good in the moment. Leave time to be bored or do nothing, or just do the things for yourself that you didn't get around to during the week. The next idea for a goal that you can do in 2021 is to decide to always eat 1 meal per day mindfully without distractions. And by distractions, I mean TV, laptop, phone, books, podcasts, things of that nature. Of course, you are allowed to chat with someone else if you're enjoying it with someone. But I feel that 1 meal per day is doable, but still very valuable. We all have to eat several times a day, so if you can do this with 1 meal, then this can be a great time for you to just give your thinking mind a break and really get out of your head into the present moment. Really appreciate and value your food, and eating mindfully can even help us to feel more satiated after a meal. If you're working from home during this time especially, then make it a goal for yourself to punch in and punch out. By which I mean really set a time for yourself when you start working and when you finish work, after which you are not allowed to do any work or check your emails or your business accounts. Most of us really feel the pressure to always be reachable and always be available for work. And especially if you work from home, then this can really blur the lines. So take charge and set boundaries for yourself as well as for others. I usually find that if you answer your email after hours and people know that, then they will come to expect that of you. Whereas if they know that you don't do that, usually they just accept it. Another healthy habit to incorporate in 2021 is no screens 1 hour before going to bed. Or if that works better for you, you could also say no devices in bed. Get in the habit of winding down before you go to sleep. No social media, no blue light, just calming down and ending your days gently. And this will help you to sleep better and will make you feel more rested during the day. And lastly, in the healthy habits category is something that I feel does not get mentioned enough, And that is simply to walk more often. And I feel especially in the new year when people have all these fitness goals and we feel that we need to go all out to get results, when walking is actually also really healthy and helpful to keep our body healthy. I like to incorporate this myself in small ways, like for example, walking over to the next bus stop if I have to wait for a few minutes, or going for a walk before I start working in the morning or during a lunch break. And it is free, it is so nice to go out and get some fresh air, and it really helps to get some perspective as well. And now I want to share 5 intentional living habits with you. And for me, intentional living means that we can find more clarity, more purpose, more joy in life. And it helps us to ask why we do the things we do, why we make the decisions that we make, and live more in alignment with what we truly find important in life. The first habit you can try is doing a news detox. And this can mean not watching any news for a week to really get your mind out of it. Can also mean setting some boundaries for yourself, like watching the news or reading news articles for a maximum of 15 minutes a day. So set some sort of boundaries and limits for yourself so that your news consumption doesn't get in the way of your mental and emotional well-being. You could also think of setting a goal for yourself that you want to learn one new thing each month just for fun, just because it excites you or because you find it interesting. I think learning new things can be so wonderful because it helps to keep things fresh and interesting. It helps to keep our brains active and healthy, and it's just a nice thing to do for yourself just because you find it fun. Or set the goal of taking a few minutes aside each day to reach out to one person, a friend or a family member, or just someone who's in your life. You don't have to spend hours talking on the phone with them. Just send them a text asking how they're doing, or maybe send them a postcard, something like that, to tell them that you're thinking about them. I think it's important to invest in our relationships with others, especially now that we cannot really hang out in person. You could also try and get a bit more organized in 2021. So if you're the type of person who often feels overwhelmed by all the many things that you have to do, or maybe you forget things easily, then it can really help to start planning in some way, start journaling or bullet journaling, something that works for you. For me, my bullet journal really helps me to stay on top of things, and I never have to feel stressed about forgetting something important because I know that I have it written down. And I actually have a video about how I set up my bullet journal in a very minimal, practical way. So if you are interested, I will leave that down below. And lastly, you could try and make it a point in 2021 to make your decisions based on love instead of fear. And I know that this sounds kind of hippy-dippy, but it's actually really practical. So let me explain what I mean with an example. Say you want to get fitter in 2021. Basing that decision on fear means that you want to do it because you really dislike your current body, or because you are afraid of gaining weight or getting sick. And instead, if you base a decision like that on love, you could say, okay, I really love my body. I appreciate everything that it does for me, and I want to take extra good care of it this year. So it is the same resolution, the same goal, the same decision, but it's very much based on something positive instead of something negative. I have been trying to do this for a couple of years now, and it's not always easy, but I'm getting better at it, and I find that it really does wonders for my mental well-being to know that I am basing my decisions based on something positive instead of something negative, and I do feel less anxious, less discontent, and more secure. A quick reminder that this video is sponsored, so feel free to check out Skillshare and get your free trial. Click here if you want to see what I am not buying in 2021, and click here for tips for slowing down your life in 2021. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.